Being a MAGA insider can offer perks galore, but it can also be fraught with peril. Kimberly Guilfoyle knows this better than anyone. Once a fixture of Trump's ever-evolving group of insiders, her circumstances have changed radically and rapidly. Given her history, Kimberly Guilfoyle would seem an unlikely candidate to become a leading right-wing figure. After all, she was once married to California Governor Gavin Newsom, one of the shining stars in the Democratic Party. The union didn't last, and after their 4-year marriage ended in divorce, she married businessman Eric Valenci in 2006. That marriage was also doomed to fail. However, during her brief 3-year stint as Valenci's wife, she and her future ex crossed paths repeatedly with Donald Trump Jr. and his then-wife Vanessa Trump.
These are the 2 most important women in my life.
During her marriage to Valenci, Kimberly's politics shifted to the right, moving from her nonpartisan TV gig at Court TV to Fox News, the deeply conservative cable news channel. It was during her early years at Fox News that she first began encountering members of the Trump family at various society functions in New York City. She was first introduced to Donald Trump Jr. at a party while both were married to other people. They were friendly but would become even better acquainted about a decade later. After Donald Trump's victory in the 2016 presidential election, Kimberly put both her Fox News cred and her Trump family connections into action when, in 2017, she made a bid to become White House press secretary. At the time, Trump reportedly looked to shake up the White House communications strategy, having grown unhappy with then-press secretary Sean Spicer. According to a New York Times report about the then-president's plans, Trump floated Kimberly's name for the position. Kimberly confirmed that report when she told the Mercury News she was in serious discussions to take on a role within the Trump administration, potentially replacing Spicer as White House press secretary, saying, "I'm a patriot, and it would be an honor to serve the country. I think it'd be a fascinating job. It's a challenging job, and you need someone really determined and focused, a great communicator in there with deep knowledge to be able to handle that position." Speaking on Fox News in what seemed to be an on-air job interview, Kimberly shared her philosophy of how a press secretary could succeed when working with the freewheeling Trump. If you want to be successful and do communications with President Trump, you have to be someone who he actually wants to spend a little bit of time with.
He can't stand to see things not done the right way.
She did not get the job, however, which ultimately went to Sarah Huckabee Sanders. It wasn't long after Kimberly's name was floated as a potential White House press secretary that she began popping up in gossip columns. It started in March 2018 when Vanessa Trump announced that she'd split from Don Jr. and had begun divorce proceedings. In May, Page Six reported that Donald Trump's eldest son had already moved on and was dating Kimberly, with a source telling the tabloid, Don Jr. and Kimberly are seeing each other and are having a great time. While he wants to respect the privacy of his family, he is getting divorced, and he enjoys Kimberly's company. While neither confirmed it, Kimberly and Don Jr. weren't exactly keeping their budding romance under wraps. In June, the two went Instagram official, pictured with Poison frontman Bret Michaels of all people. Years later, Kimberly recalled how the two went from acquaintances to lovers, telling Metropolitan Palm Beach magazine in 2022, "Don and I knew each other for years, but when we went on one date years later, that was it. Sparks. In fact, we have been together from that night on, happily ever after." By June 2018, Don Jr. and Kimberly were a full-fledged couple. If the Make America Great Again movement were a wedding cake, tiny plastic versions of them would sit on top. That was apparent when Don Jr. took her on every woman's dream date as his +1 to the 2018 Montana Republican Convention, where he delivered a speech before the two went on a fishing and hunting expedition that he joked was a compatibility test. Don Jr. told the crowd, "We're going to take her fishing tomorrow, then shooting. This is a miniature test to see if she really likes it, or if she's going to pretend to like it, but either way, we're going to have a good time. Or at least I will." Not long after that, Page Six reported on their sickeningly sweet pet names for each other. An alleged friend told the outlet that Kimberly called Don Jr. Mints, while his term of endearment for her at the time was Pooh Bear. As the official girlfriend of Donald Trump Jr., Kimberly entered the Trump family's inner sanctum. Kimberly, however, was far more than just arm candy. She put herself into service of the president and his MAGA movement, becoming a Trump surrogate and delivering fiery speeches at his rallies. Meanwhile, her influence on Don Jr. had increased his MAGA cachet, with sources claiming that she'd groomed and molded him in a manner that increased his popularity with his notoriously fickle father, and by extension, his political base. One publicist and former gossip Trump columnist told Business Insider, "She's definitely made Don Jr. more serious. She's had years and years on TV. She's helped guide and train and been very influential in Don's increasingly very secure, very formidable, very opinionated television personality."
The American public gets it, Sean. They see through this nonsense.
Meanwhile, another insider pointed out Kimberly's similarities to her beau's father, implying his attraction to her was due to his daddy issues, saying, "It's interesting to me that Donald Trump Jr. ended up with a female version of his father." Kimberly's rise within the rank of Trumpland was evident during the 2020 Republican National Convention, when she was chosen to deliver a keynote speech. That speech was, well, it was something. Not only did she describe Donald Trump's opponent Joe Biden as a raving socialist, but she also made a few eyebrow-raising claims about the Democrats.
They want to steal your liberty, your freedom. They want to control what you see and think.
While her strident speech appeared to go over well at the convention, that certainly wasn't the case elsewhere. One New York Times TV critic wrote that she was on a mission to make America deaf again, and late-night hosts had a field day.
Trump Jr. girlfriend and vengeful banshee who will haunt your dreams.
The best is yet to come.
I want to wish a speedy recovery to anyone who was listening on headphones.
Kimberly and Don Jr. had been the preeminent MAGA power couple for years when they made a 2019 appearance on The View. They were asked about whether they'd be walking down the aisle anytime soon and made it clear their priority was to get the president re-elected. That did not happen.
Joseph R. Biden Jr. is elected the 46th president of the United States.
With Donald Trump exiting the White House and returning to Mar-a-Lago, the rest of the Trump family followed suit and made Florida their home base. In 2021, the Palm Beach Post reported that Kimberly and Don Jr. had been scoping out a waterfront home in Admiral's Cove, a gated community in Jupiter, Florida. The couple eventually pulled the trigger on the $9.7 million purchase of an 11,300 square foot mansion, situated just 20 minutes from Mar-a-Lago. Status-wise, it's one thing to be the girlfriend of Donald Trump Jr., but quite another to be his fiancée. In 2022, Kimberly took to Instagram to share a photo of herself and Don Jr. posing in front of a festive Christmas tree at the White House. His hand on her hip, the ring finger on her left hand sported a large engagement ring. Kimberly wrote in the caption, "Don, you are strong, smart, courageous, funny, and the love of my life. I can't wait to spend the rest of our lives together." Their engagement, however, may not have been as recent as most people had assumed. As a source told Page 6, they'd actually been engaged for well over a year. The source said, "They've kept it private for the past year as they settled into life in Florida after moving from New York. Both are focused on their children. They have 6 between them and their work." After Donald Trump won the 2024 presidential election, the obvious assumption was that Donald Trump Jr. and his fiancée would tie the knot at some point in the not-too-distant future. Those assumptions, however, hit the skids when reports emerged that Don Jr. had been seen enthusiastically kissing a woman who was decidedly not his fiancée. According to the Daily Mail, eyewitnesses saw Don Jr. canoodling in a bar with Palm Beach socialite Bettina Anderson, with Kimberly nowhere in sight. Those sources told the outlet that the two kissed each other no less than 3 times. The source said, "She seemed totally smitten with Don, and he with her. They were definitely on a date. They weren't exactly making out, but the kisses were romantic, and you could tell they were intimate with each other." Another source indicated that this new romance was not a secret, and had become the talk of the Palm Beach social scene, saying, "I guess they're not trying to hide it. They've been seen together all over Palm Beach." That Daily Mail report about Donald Trump Jr.'s shenanigans with Bettina Anderson reportedly hit Kimberly like the proverbial ton of bricks. However, insiders claimed that Don Jr. had hardly been low-key about his cheating, and that Kim had possibly even been turning a blind eye to her fiancé's dalliances. An insider told the outlet, Kimberly either didn't know about Bettina or didn't want to know. Did she hear whispers that Don Jr. was fooling around with someone else? Probably. According to that source, discretion has never been Don Jr.'s strong suit. They added, "He's pretty bold, and as smart as she is, Kimberly looked the other way." Despite the lack of shame with which her fiancé approached his new romantic relationship, Kimberly's future with Don Jr. remained an open question. The source pointed out that it was clear during the 2024 Republican National Convention that Kimberly's position within Trumpland had been marginalized, with her suddenly the odd woman out. Speculation about the state of the engagement between Don Jr. and Kimberly hit a fever pitch when President-elect Donald Trump took to social media to tweet his appointment of Kimberly as the United States ambassador to Greece. Given the rumors about Don Jr. and Bettina Anderson, and the simple fact that Kimberly had neither any connection to the country nor any experience whatsoever in international diplomacy, one key question arose immediately. Was Kim's appointment to Greece a way of getting her out of the way so that Don Jr. could pursue his new romance?
I love President Trump. He is my great friend for over 20 years.
If the ambassadorship was indeed a form of exile from Trumpland, Guilfoyle was savvy enough to put a different spin on it. She wrote on Instagram, "As ambassador, I look forward to delivering on the Trump agenda, supporting our Greek allies, and ushering in a new era of peace and prosperity." Rumors that Kimberly and Don Jr. had booked one-way tickets to Splitsville seemed to solidify into fact when numerous sources came forward to confirm that they had ended their engagement and gone their separate ways. As one source told Page 6, the writing had been on the wall for some time. Don and Kimberly haven't been getting along over the past year. They get argumentative at Mar-a-Lago in front of people. Nothing crazy, but you know when a couple is fighting, they bicker in public. There may have been even more to the couple's breakup than that. A source told People, Don Jr. has always wanted to look good in his father's eyes. That source also went on to claim that Kimberly's stock within MAGA's inner circle had fallen significantly in recent months and that Don Jr. was anxious to prevent her from dragging him down with her. Don Jr. was allegedly on the hunt for another romantic partner who would help to elevate him in the eyes of his dad. Someone like Bettina, who is and has been a model and is in waspy circles of Palm Beach, is something that would impress him. Meanwhile, Don Jr.'s family is reportedly happy to see him put Kimberly in the rearview mirror, with the president-elect offering the ambassadorship as a smooth exit from Trumpland. A source told People, Kim is not a nice person and always wants the limelight. Don and Kim are over, but they are going to offer her some kind of an administrative position, so she will be happy.